What up? It's Jack, aka Just a Cunt here, and Johsua Van just won the fight of the year and won himself a title shot against Alejandro Pantoja when beating Brandon Royval in a banger. In a fight that not only lived up to my expectation, but exceeded it. Both fighters should be proud of themselves. Royval looked great out there, looked like the vet, looked like he knew how to win the fight, but Van was able to snatch it at the end with that right hook, dropping him at the end of the fight. Overall, let's get into the breakdown. Now, starting off early in round one, the main thing Royval was implementing was jabs and leg kicks. Johsua Van was staying quite patient overall, staying on the outside, moving out the way of shots, not doing anything too crazy, but would pick it up as the round goes on. Looking at one of the early exchanges, you see Royval come in with a right hand, was Van coming out, pawing at it. Starting off early, Royval would go on his right hand. Johsua Van would take a step back. Royval would then come in with his rear hand. Johsua Van parries it, moves out the way, comes in with his left hand, catches Royval clean, and then with his rear hand comes back, catches him again in the pocket. Another exchange here. Royval comes in with a jab. Van is able to slip on the inside of the punch, landing a body jab. He would land a rear hand. A big thing Royval was doing in this fight was relying on tall man's defense, fading back, leaning back. His hands were pretty low throughout this fight. Johsua Van here as well. Hard shots to the body. Van was investing into it. Another thing he was using was knee stomp. One problem though I do have with Van in this fight, and something that makes me a little bit nervous in his fight with Pantoja. Now, I don't expect him to fight the same way because he's fighting such a bigger, taller opponent. He would overextend on shots a lot. Now, Royval didn't punish him too much, but there are definitely plenty of times in this fight where he'd be left out of position. He'd be left with his hips squared, in a position where I do feel like that Pantoja can get his hands up and go for a takedown. Coming towards the end of this fight, there was something that seemed almost like a knockdown. Looking at this fight, it's hard to tell as well because you don't see their feet, at least in the angles that I was seeing. It's like he trips over. I don't think it was a knockdown, but overall, great first round by Van. Moving into the second round. Johsua Van comes out hot, starting off with a jab to the face, ducking under the check hook from Royval. Royval then grabs him into a Thai plum, launching a knee straight into Van's face. Van then returns a body shot, gets a knee in return from Royval, lands another body shot, and then a hook up top, hitting Royval hard. Then he goes for another left hook, clinch up together. Moving on later into the fight, both Royval and Van meet together going for a shot. Coming in, Van is clocking a rear backhand. Royval coming in for a jab. They both end up missing each other. They then return with left hooks, with Van missing, but Royval able to then follow up with a left hook, catching Johsua as well. Van ducks under a jab from Royval. Royval then makes a good adjustment into the fight, where up to this point, Van's head movement was nothing crazy, but he's doing a good job of parrying, moving left or right, nothing too crazy, but Van gets punished for it, gets caught with a nasty uppercut from Royval. This is when Van's defense started to fail him a little bit. Royval comes in, jab, two, hit him with a four-piece combo. Van just did not move, did not react to it well, got stood back up a little bit, but we go back in the later half of this round. Van hauling at Royval's lead hand, hits him with a great jab coming in. Van then keeps forward, going in for that two. Royval trying to grab him, turns it into a hook, comes up top. They seem to hit each other. Van seems to be a little bit more smothered though. Royval hitting him. I think it came off the shoulder though. Coming up, one of Van's highlights, he ducks under a rear hook from Royval, ducking under, hitting with a nasty two to the body. Not done right there. Comes in with a left hand to the body, hard shot. You can see Royval is not liking this. This causes him to stumble back a little bit. Coming back into space, Van keeping his hands up. Royval goes for a jab, lands a good jab, comes back with a two, able to weave out of the way of Van's two as well. Coming back into it, both swinging, coming in, just bombing on each other. Overhand from Van, left hook, Great combination. Overhand, left hand, Conor McGregor-esque combination. Beautiful to see. Royval coming to the end of the round, hits him with a jab. Van comes back to return, ducking under his Thai plum. As a result, though, then goes for an uppercut as Van starts to duck down. And beautiful overall combinations from Joshua Van and Brandon Roy. This was a spectacular round, very hard to judge. I personally gave it to Royval just due to the raw volume, but you can have an argument for Van because he did land some amazing shots, amazing combination. Now let's break down the third and final round where Joshua Van would seal the deal. Starting off, Brandon Royval coming out with a winging left hand. Joshua Van able to parry it out the way, but then tries to respond with a left hook, but Royval comes in with a uppercut where they land on the same time, coming in the same combination. You see a left hand from Royval. Overall, with Van trying to come over the top, missing each other. Coming in just seconds later, coming together in a clinch, trying to land body shots. A seam in this fight was Brandon Royval going for the Thai plum, where then Joshua Van would land over the top. Coming in this combination, they are just swinging on each other into the pocket, where eventually Joshua Van would then get some space, come over, cock back that hand, come in with a left hand on Brandon Royval, but he is leaning back, coming in, responds with a left hand to the chin, where Joshua Van would then come back with a jab, but would then be thrown off by that punch. Coming in the same combination, Brandon Royval would then come left hand, right hand, coming back with that rear hand again, landing with the left hand. Joshua Van just covering up at this point. Left hand, coming back again with the left hand, then the right hand one more time. Joshua Van trying to fire back, but the range is giving him problems with another left hand from Brandon Royval. Coming up later, Joshua Van at range lands a beautiful jab into a beautiful right hand down the pipe, hitting Royval clean on the chin. Later in the fight, coming in, Joshua Van at range and get peppered with a left hand. Joshua Van would then get hit with an uppercut. Left hand from Brandon Royval, starting to pick up the pace with some very creative combination, but at this point, at about 1 minute into the fight, this is when the difference maker happened. As before this, in my opinion, Brandon Royval was winning the round with pure volume and also some very great strikes. Then Joshua Van would start really committing to the knee stops. As you can see, Brandon Royval has to respect it, getting knocked back at his leg, kicked back with it, would then try to counter this by lifting up, doing the marching man Sean Strickland defense, but coming in to this, he would then get caught up into a clinch, hit over the top with a right hand, and then push off. Later, we would then go into another knee stomp from Joshua Van, taking Brandon Royval off his feet, knocking him to the ground. One more time, we got another knee stomp. 2 seconds later, Brandon Royval coming in, gets his hand parried, his knee kicked in. You can see he falls, loses his stance. Then later gets hit with a knee, grabbed, kneed in the face, pushed off, knee. Just 3 seconds later would get hit with another knee stomp, pushing his knee into it, but Royval was not discouraged, would then come back with an uppercut, trying to grab Van. Later, hit with another knee stomp, but was able to then counter him by grabbing Van on his leg, hitting with a good right hand, pushing him back a little bit, but still got knocked off his feet. Took a lot of sting off his punch. Van starting to pick up the pace, landing good strike, would then duck under a winging shot from Royval, hit him with a beautiful left hand. I don't know how Royval Chin has survived all these beautiful shots, but it's not over. Coming back with a right hand, would then hit Van off the, or hit Royval off the break, stumbling him back. Coming in 5 seconds later, come back, right hand, weave out the way by Van, left hand by Van, right hand by Van, then jab from Van. This is all the same combination. Coming back, Royval comes back with a right hand, weave out the way, hit back with a jab, not keeping his hands up. We are not done. After that, Van goes for the 2, Royval goes for the check hook, ends up being a stalemate where they both end up grabbing each other and then come with the Thai clinch. Royval then goes for a knee up the middle, comes back, lands a good jab. Van then responds in turn with a knee stomp, pushing his knee back into a combo hook where Royval would then try to grab him as a result, but Van would come in with a left hook, miss it. Royval would then come back with his right hand of his own, staying unsafe. Royval's in his face, putting his hands up, saying, what are we going to do? Who's going to take this fight? But Van gets hit with her right hand, but then is able to move with it, come out the way, cock back a beautiful right hook, and just bomb on Royval, the best shot of the fight period, knocking him down on his ass. You can see him just falling. He is purely unconscious. There's pure instinct keeping him alive. Van comes back, starts landing beautiful shots, and puts a staple to the fight. Ends it on a great note. Beautiful fight. Fight of the year by far. One of the greatest fights, probably the greatest flyweight fight of all time. The only competition I can think of a Brandon Moreno versus Davis and Figueiredo won, but overall beautiful fight. Beautiful performance from Johsua Van. He is going to fight Pantoja next in probably one of the most hyped flyweight fights in the history of the division. He is the future of this division and should be greatly appreciated. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. I do have a Conor McGregor video coming out soon. Please check out my full card reaction. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good night.